in San Diego, and you're gonna meet Jim, who reached out to us because he's got a 1966 MGB, and he did the unthinkable to it. He cut it in half lengthwise, widened it, and dropped a 535 horsepower V8 in it. Who does that?
Hi.
Jim, I'll give you a big ol' hug. I can't believe we're meeting each other.
Finally.
I know, so you reached out to us because you saw a couple of the videos and thought, I'm that guy,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Here we are.
And here we are. What you did to this MGB will tick people off, and I love it. Who cuts a car in half down the middle? Did you like take a Sawzall? Like what did you actually do?
I took a Sawzall and I cut it right down the middle. I knew there was going to be big challenges along the way, but somehow I'd figure them out.
I mean, you think about it. Every single thing is affected. The bumper, the trunk, the cowl, the
windshield.
The windshield, the hood, every single thing. Now you have to figure out.
Right.
I mean, this was not a straightforward, easy project. It took you how many years?
I cut it in half the day after Christmas of 2000.
You even painted this yourself.
Painted it right where you're standing.
I can't even believe that. Mad respect, because it looks good. Sometimes when a guy paints a car himself, it's like 50-50 paint. You know what that is? Looks good from 50 feet away or 50 miles an hour.
Yeah.
This looks good.
Well, thank you.
And this is a single stage with a coat of clear.
This is single stage, and the reason I did single stage is I was painting everything underneath. The engine compartment, inside the trunk, the bottom of the car. I didn't want to have to clear coat everything. So when I painted the single stage on the outside, then I cleared over that so I could cut and buff it.
That makes sense. And clearly these are curved panels like this hood. And you had to fabricate every piece in there.
Everything, yeah.
Tell me how you did that.
There's a couple pieces in here that are out of an old hood, an old aluminum hood that the car came with. But the rest of them I had to make and weld them together. And then I made the frame for the hood as well.
And did you use an English wheel?
I did.
And had you used an English wheel prior?
I did not. I had to make the English wheel.
Okay.
Because
That right there is mind-blowing. You had to make the English wheel. You made the tools to make this car.
I made the tools to make the car. That's one of the reasons it took 17 years.
That's crazy, and I want to go see that right now. I want to go see those tools.
Okay. So this is the English wheel. It's about 500 pounds. It's a very substantial framework on this thing. This is a steel caster that I bought, put new bearings in it, and refinished the surface, and then I made all of the wheels that go in it.
You made this.
I made that. I made all of it.
That's crazy.
These are two belt sanders that I built. This is the one that I use a lot. It's a 2 horsepower. This one is a little detail one. This is a swimming pool motor that was here with a bad pump on it. This is a chop saw that will cut through metal. It's a slow speed, and it's got a metal cutting blade in it. This is a ring roller that I made that will bend a very gradual bend in a piece of tubing. When I made the edging for the cockpit, it was a very gradual bend in the tube. How do you do that? Well, you need to very gradually bend it.
That's awesome. I want this place. I love it. This is
You're welcome
so
anytime.
Cool.
So this is how I use the bender. This piece right here bends this way, and it also bends this way. And how do you bend a piece of 1-inch tubing to do that?
I mean, I have no
You
idea.
have to make a tool to do it.
And same from here all the way to that corner, one continuous piece?
Yes.
How much of this car is still an MGB?
The tops of the front fenders, couple pieces of the front bumper, the headlights, the doors, and the jambs around the doors, the two halves of the trunk and the surround of the trunk, and the taillights.
Right. And everything else is just
Everything-
fabricated in between.
Yeah, everything inside of the body is fabricated. There's only about 200 pounds of MG car left.
Super unique.
Well, let me show you the badging that I did for the car. It's a take on the MG stock MG logo, except the car has more GM content than it does MG content. So I just flipped the letters.
It's awesome. Your windshield? They don't sell this anywhere.
No.
Tell me about this process.
Well, first of all, with the car being a lot wider and the windshield having a fair amount of curvature to it, it's very difficult to find a piece of glass that's that wide and has that much curvature to it.
Right.
I looked and looked and looked, and I was sitting at work at lunch one day, and I saw this 67 Impala drive by, and I got a good side view of it, and I could see nice big curved windshield, wide car. So I saw where he parked. I went over and measured it. It's wide enough, and so that became the glass that I was going to use. I had to make a frame.
So then you had to teach yourself how to cut glass.
I had to teach myself how to cut glass. I made 2 windshields, and all of a sudden, big crack through it. This is the third one. There's a guy who does all of the glass work on overhauling. He came out and he made this windshield. I knew how to cut the glass. I can make the glass. So he said, what you do is you have it hanging loose inside of there and then get black silicone
I see.
and squirt it in there. And I had to pay him for the windshield, which I already knew how to cut.
Right.
But what I really paid him for was his advice on how you
right.
mount this thing.
Now you know.
And now I know.
The heck? Wow. So the MG would not have opened this way.
The MG opened this way
Look at this. So this is an LT1 out of a Camaro
out of a Camaro, a Z28 Camaro, 95.
and 535 horsepower. at the flywheel.
535 horsepower,
That's awesome.
550 foot-pounds of torque.
Good night. So why did you go with the LT1 instead of an LS platform?
I bought the engine 2001, and LS ones were still new. You know, they didn't come out until 97, and they were very expensive. I don't think they're as nice looking as this engine.
So this is a centrifugal supercharger.
It is. It's driven off of the crank, so the faster the engine spins, the faster that spins. So you get very little boost at low RPMs, and it builds up gradually and just keeps going the faster you spin it.
Okay.
So at about 5,000 RPM, this thing is making 10 pounds of boost.
Okay.
At 3,000 RPM, it makes about 3 or 4 pounds of boost.
All right. And so when you're here at sea level, you know, atmospheric pressure is about 14.7 pounds.
Yep.
And so what that means is you're adding that many pounds.
I'm adding 10 to that.
Right, 10 pounds of pressure
Yep.
more.
Yep. 11-to-1 compression.
What octane are you running?
Runs on standard California 91 premium.
Okay.
And the way that works is because that little tank back there is water methanol injection.
Cooling.
With that much compression,
Yes.
you're going to get a lot of detonation. There's 2 switches, one that turns on at about 3 pounds and the other one that turns on about 6 pounds.
Okay.
And it squirts that water injection right into the intake.
All right, so this looks like a radiator cap.
That's a
but why?
radiator cap. Well,
going
the
on?
engine sits very low. The radiator is even lower. And if you want to be able to fill the thing, you need to have a fill point that's higher than the engine and the radiator. So that's why this is back here and up
see.
high. It's the highest place in the engine compartment. So I had to build a tank and then connect it to all of this. There's no cap on the radiator.
You have a really wide radiator.
Yeah.
What'd you put in there?
It's a 19 by 31 dual core Griffin radiator. It's got a Ford Taurus fan on it. And I hate having cars that overheat.
Okay, so you got your fuel cell back here.
Fuel cell. Everything you see in here is fabricated. The fender wells, that panel, the tank, everything.
And you put that bead roll in it to give it rigidity.
Make it more rigid, yeah.
Smart. And how many gallons is this? This thing
holds
looks huge.
17.
17, okay.
Yeah, and it actually gets pretty good mileage. With the 6-speed, putting it in the second overdrive in 6th gear, it'll get better than 20 miles per gallon.
Yeah. What do you got going there? What is this little orange and black? What is that?
If I need to jump start it, I can jump start
Battery
it.
post.
Or I keep it on a trickle charger, and that's where you hook it up. Because the battery is buried way down there, and you can't get at it.
Thinking. There you go again, being clever.
I know.
There you go again. Why, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Ooh. Oh, this is comfy. This is really styled nicely. I really like what you did. It looks very race car-esque. You made this entire dash.
Entire dash.
And I'm assuming, what, did you have to use your fancy little roller for this edge piece down here too?
I did that with a tipping wheel on the English wheel. And this, I made a 2-inch pipe that I formed it over. I hammered it over.
It's actually quite thick and rigid right here. It has a lot of structure to it.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere.
If it stays cool, what kind of ideal running temp are you usually looking at on your water?
180.
Okay.
It
That's
just
typical
runs
350.
along at 180. Yeah.
Right.
When you're in 6th gear at 70 miles an hour on the freeway, it's doing 1,700 RPM.
Nice. What's this guy?
That's how you start it. You got to turn the key.
Turn the key. And then is this
Pull
fuel?
that out 1 mile.
Oh, hey. Hey now.
That's how you do it.
Hey now. It's cold. Your neighbors. It's still early.
They're on vacation.
Oh, are they? Oh, good.
That little light there, when it lit, that meant that the water methanol injection turned on.
Oh, it was a... What a sound!
It started making boost.
Oh my gosh.
And
Wow. My gosh, that sounds great. You're a hot rodder. Let's go put it on the lift. I got to see what you got underneath there.
Okay.
All right. Your fuel cell fits really good with your mufflers.
Well, this is the second exhaust system I had on the car. The first one I had was a 3-inch pipe that came around there and it exited over on that side. I think it sounds better. It's got a little raspier sound to it.
Is that due to the resonators? I mean, that will... Tell me what the benefit of having those is.
I was just trying to keep it from being any louder than it had to be.
It sounds perfect. Whatever you did, it sounds really good. But the most unique thing when you lift this is that it's completely flat.
It's essentially a belly pan.
Right.
And I did that for a couple of reasons. One, I wanted to get the seating position in the car down as low as I could. And second of all, when you have a bunch of cross members and exhaust pipes and junk hanging down on the bottom of the car, it creates a lot of turbulence. When the car is sitting on its wheels, all the suspension pieces are tucked up in there, so you don't see those either. And the tunnel itself is structural. It's a very weak part of the car on any convertible.
Right.
I made a frame out of 1-inch tubing when I built the thing, and then it's sandwiched on both sides with sheet metal.
Let's talk about your suspension.
This is suspension out of an '88 C4 Corvette, standard width. I put adjustable camber rods on it, and I converted it from the fiberglass leaf spring that it had to coilovers because the car weighs a lot less than the Corvette weighed. And this way
Right.
I can adjust height and dampening and all that sort of thing. It's got 373 gears.
You got a Dana 44?
It's a Dana 44.
Okay. So that's a limited slip, which is
Yep,
great
yep.
because you're going to keep your tires pulling and
Yep.
not spinning one out. And that's your battery, which is why you made those posts accessible from the trunk.
Exactly.
Because that's not very convenient.
It's not convenient at all. And to get to the battery, there's a plate behind the passenger seat. This is a piece that I had to put in the exhaust to clear the clutch slave cylinder.
Ah.
This side doesn't have it. This side hangs down a lot lower. But I didn't want the pipe hanging way down.
To keep the volume of air the
Yeah,
same.
so this is about 1 1/4 times the volume of the 2.5-inch pipe. The car sits really low. The top of the windshield's only 44 inches off the ground.
Good grief. And here's where you added your rigidity by adding those.
Originally, the Corvette had a cross member that connected all of these pieces, all the A-arms. It was so ugly that I decided that I was going to make a whole new front end for the car. And when I was doing it, I incorporated all the mounting points for the A-arms. And
Anything special about your brakes?
the brakes they're not standard Corvette. They're the high-performance J55 option, which is 13-inch rotors and two piston calipers in the front. And the rears are 12-inch rotors.
Obviously, you can see your steering coming in here, and you got this out of a
That's out of a Fiero.
That's crazy.
Oddly enough, it bolted right up to the Corvette
It like
steering
rounds that
rack.
corner. You had to clearance this, obviously.
Yeah,
And your alternator is super close. You have maybe a finger thickness,
yeah, it's right there.
if that.
When I built the front end of the car, when I decided not to run the Corvette crossmember, I had to duplicate all of the suspension mounting points in the structure that I built.
Right.
So where those things are located in space, I went to a frame straightening shop, and they had a plan of how, when you straighten the frame on a Corvette, it's this far out and this far up from this datum line, and that's where it went. So I was able to construct, it was a wood structure that just held those things in space when there's nothing on the front of the car.
Right.
So they were just being held in space, and I built the frame to...
You were able to find where those locations would have been with that crossmember gone.
And just
That's crazy.
built the frame that way. And that's how it came to be.
There you go again,
I
being clever.
didn't plan it out, didn't draw it out, didn't do anything.
Thinking.
These are power brake boosters.
Okay.
It has to have two of them because it has a balance bar set up with separate circuits for the front and the rear brakes.
And you can play with the bias.
You can play with the bias. It's not dialable, but I can adjust it.
Okay.
And that's what all this plumbing is about, is to get the brake fluid back and forth.
And your wheels were off of a Corvette also?
They're replicas of the ZR1 Corvette wheels. They're 11 inches wide in back and 9.5 wide in front.
This is your water methanol tank, your pump.
The tank and the pump is right there. It's a 250 PSI pump. And when you start making boost, that thing switches on and pumps the stuff into the engine.
And it's noticeable when it starts.
You'll-
That supercharger's going to change my life?
The supercharger will change your life.
I think we need to throw the wheels back on this and let it rip.
We can do that.
Handle's really good. It feels really planted.
It is.
It feels heavy. I don't know what it weighs.
It weighs a little over 2,800 pounds.
Okay. It has the illusion to me of it being a heavier car. It feels very heavy, which is good. I mean, it feels planted, you know? perfect. All that glass cutting is paid off.
I know.
Oh, this transmission has 6 speeds.
Yep.
So 5th is overdrive and 6th is an even higher overdrive?
Yes. The 6th is really just a freeway thing.
This is throttle responsive. Wow. This scoots, man. No, this has way more. I mean, that was probably what, 30 or 40% throttle? And it just took right off like a rocket ship. It looks like you're staring at it on wide lens. It doesn't look real.
I know.
How wide it is.
I went through a lot of effort to try to keep as much MG look to this thing as I could.
Is the crown of your hood and trunk higher than where a stock would be because you had to make up the difference
Just-
when you stretch it out?
Just barely.
Yeah.
Because that's up in the part that was the flat part of the hood anyway.
Uh-huh.
So it's at the most a quarter of an inch.
Yeah, not bad. So did you weave your own carpet too?
No.
Did you skin your own cow?
But I made the loom.
Perfect. Perfect. Of course you did. Good grief. Wow. I wonder what your top speed would be the way you've got it geared.
6,000 in 5th gear is
Yeah.
160 miles an hour.
Wow. And that's all theoretical. I doubt you've tried to hit that.
Theoretical in 6th gear
Yeah.
is like 200 and something.
Jeez. What kind of tire do you have?
Nittos.
Nice.
NT5 Nittos.
They're fat. That's a totally inappropriate horn for how much muscle this has.
It's loud though.
Yes. Jiminy Christmas, it's so torquey. This seat's really comfortable. I feel like I fit exactly perfect now that this seat's really forward.
These are
Very squishy.
these are Corvette
Really?
C4 Corvette
Oh,
seats.
well, they're perfect. They hit like your head in the right spot.
I know they're really
Look.
comfortable.
Actually, super comfy.
You're having way too much fun.
You remember you called me.
The thing rides fairly smooth
Yes,
too.
it really does. It feels very stable. It doesn't feel darty. You give the sensation that it's a lot heavier, and I don't mean heavy slow, I mean heavy stuck to the
Yeah.
ground. Like really sticking to the ground. It also has big fat meats, which is great. Good traction. Is this any special color of red? What'd you pick this from?
This is from a company called Southern Polyurethanes, and the name of the color is red.
Just red.
Just red.
Simple, right?
Yeah.
Red. Well,
And it was about the reddest red I could find.
so you machined all these little knobs, I bet, didn't you?
Yep.
Yep, of course you did. And your shift knob,
Then the shift knob.
of course you did. You know, these LT1s are common, affordable in comparison to the LS. I wonder how much weight savings you would get out of a I wonder
Aluminum
how
block?
much. Yeah, out of an LS.
50, 75 pounds, somewhere in there.
Okay.
This thing has 50-50 weight distribution.
Perfect. Did you make your own roll cage back here too?
Uh-huh.
Of course you did.
But it's kind of fun. You forget what driving an analog car
Yeah.
is like,
Right?
you know, and there's nothing fancy on here.
I love that you get to control what it does. It's
Yeah.
not thinking for you.
Right.
It's my favorite part.
Now it's our turn.
Wow. I had to lift a little. It wanted to get squirmy on me, I could tell. Wow.
Top of the world.
Top of the world. How fun. I'm really grateful that you contacted us because I would never have known about this car, and I feel really fortunate that we get to bring it to the world. I can't think of a better way, you know, after all these years that you've put into this car, than to allow other people to hear your story and see what you did, because it's incredible. It really is.
Cool.
Well, I know we're ticking off all the Brits. If you're watching from Great Britain, I want to hear what you guys think, because you hate what we do in America. We love what we do. The ultimate sacrifice of an MG, right? I don't know. I want to hear what you guys have to say, because I think this is a lot of fun. We will catch you guys next time. This show is a ton of hours to produce, and we could use your support. Go to patreon.com/Nicole Johnson's Detour, or check out our merchandise, NicoleJohnson'sDetour.com. Hello.
Today we're in San Diego, and I forgot what I was going to tell you. He cut it in half. My mom was like, "You need to wear earrings."
An 86.
No, it's an 88.
An 88.
The 80.
Let's talk about your independent rear suspension. So,
No.
This is suspension out of a 60. No.
No, it's you.
I can do it.
Can't do it. You can't do nanu.
No.
Nanu.
Well,
You remember?
I can do it that far, but I can't make